welcome to the Spicy Divorce Party Planner TV show. I'm your host, Spice, and today I have my lovely co-host. We have Creative Storm, we have Dawn, and we have our very special birthday guest, Miss Mahoghanys Moore.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Yeah. So Miss Mahogany is a mother, she's a wife, she's an ex-wife, she's a sister, and she's a dating strategist. So, Miss Mahogany, can you tell us what city you're representing today?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, Atlanta, hey! Miss Creative Storm, what city are you in today?
Los Angeles.
I'm over here in Marina Del Rey. And Dawn, where are you at?
I'm in Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, I know you boiling out there.
It's actually rained quite a bit.
Here?
So
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's definitely rained a lot over the weekend. So it's nice. Cleans everything out.
Right, that's
Yeah,
good.
monsoon weather.
Because it gets really hot out there as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
Mahogany was telling me she had a surprise weather today too, right?
Yeah, it's been raining out here. I mean, it's been raining for, I don't know, it's COVID. I want to say COVID's been affecting the weather, but it's just been crazy weather.
Everybody else blaming it on COVID.
Yeah.
Yes.
COVID's been just effing up the weather. It just pop up and decide that it's just going to rain for days.
That's
and
right.
it'll be just a drought for days, 2 weeks at a time. So.
We're the opposite. We're burning up over here on the West Coast.
Burning up, yes.
Okay,
Real.
So, Miss Mahogany, what exactly is a dating strategist, a relationship strategist?
So I know that most of the times that they call themselves relationship coaches.
Mhm.
I don't like to call myself a relationship coach because I feel a coach is somebody that like you improve a person's odds or you improve the way a person does something, makes it better. The way I see it, women naturally are good at, and we intuitively will attract men in our lives. And I don't think that I'm here to make you do that any better. I like the word strategist because it is about a call to action or a plan of action.
Mhm.
And I think that's where we can improve in. I think men come to the table with a plan. They do.
Oh.
Mhm.
And women don't.
Mm.
You know, men will come to the bar and they will scope out women and they'll know the ones that they want to talk to and they'll know what they want to do with them.
That's true.
They'll know if they want to take you home for sex. They'll know whether or not that's the woman for a wife. They'll know whether or not that's the woman they're going to use for finances. We, however, don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Women usually lead with our emotions. And because we lead with our emotions, we don't have a plan. So my goal is to help women think and stop feeling so much. There's nothing wrong with feelings, but we need to add more strategy in what we do. So it's about learning yourself
I really like
enough
that.
so that if you when you know who you are, then when you're out approaching men, then you're not giving them the full advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And when they don't have the full advantage, now they're on your playing field.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm coming from as being a relationship strategist.
Oh,
We're
we
turning
need
the tables.
I like that.
we all like that. I didn't know they came in.
Well,
with
it's
a
just
plan.
awesome that she really explained it very, very well.
Yes.
I mean, I mean, a lot of people don't even know where to begin or start, or even how to kind of think of how to approach guys. And a lot of times, like she said, you know, they have a plan, we don't, because we're trying to be open. And sometimes we're too open or too vulnerable, or there's other things to that. So I really like the way that you're
Thank you. And so I like to give another example. Sometimes women say, well, I don't like to play games, right? Sometimes women, a lot of times when I'm working with clients, they're like, well, I don't want to play a game, but I want y'all to think about this, right? We're adults, we're all over 21. One thing though, over 21, how many games do we play over 21? Like, do we come home from work and play Monopoly? Do we come home from work and be like, oh, I can't wait to go play golf or play tennis every single day? But think about men. Oh, they got to have the NBA, the NFL, golf, right? Arcades.
Right.
And play games their entire damn life.
Right. I see.
Think about it. Men don't ever stop playing games. So men, their entire life is about to what? Win. To conquer. So they're programmed to win. And if they're like that in games, they're like that in their jobs. Why do you think they're not like that when it comes to women?
It's a challenge, right? I see what you're saying. It's still a challenge. Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to be on the same place where they are, but I'm saying at some point we have to at least educate ourselves to know where they are.
Peak those antennas. Yep. Exactly.
That's it. Because a lot of times that's why we lose. Because if you don't at least know where they are, that's why we end up in these situations and we're like, oh my God, I don't even know how we got here.
That's true. I mean,
or you end up playing a game you don't want to play.
Right.
I mean, because movies can only tell you so much. So like the movies Think Like a Man. I mean, it helps, but it's still movie. It's still a facade. You know what I mean? You still have to think about real life. Some of those things may not work. And just like we watch them, they watch them too. They watch those same types of movies. And, you know, you do have to understand that this so-called game, we're adults. It's a whole different playing field when you're out here in the real world. So you can take little tidbits from everything, but you have to use your mind, you know, and come to a realization of, you know, when you're going to really make this real. It's not a reality show. You know what I mean? And that's what everybody tries to live that life. And you can't.
That's true.
Right.
So Mahogany, happy birthday.
Hi.
Did you do anything special for your birthday? Are you going to do something special for your birthday?
So, you know, I think COVID really, made me have some changes in my life. So I just did a lot of traveling this month.
Nice.
So I went to Jamaica. Like I told you, I went to Savannah. I'm going to Cancun next week. So that's kind of what I did. It's just travel because I was like,
can I go with you?
Girl,
we all go with you.
Because y'all know the Delta variant is coming. I just have this feeling that we may go into another lockdown.
Ooh, yeah.
So I just felt like, you know what, while we can go and do something, let's go ahead and spend our little coins and get out because we may not be able to. And let's be happy with life and just count our blessings.
Yeah,
so that's what I did.
You traveled like to 4 different locations. I'm like, I haven't done that for like years.
But I mean, we didn't do anything. It was like when it was time to lock down, I did.
She said, well,
I did. I was not playing with that COVID girl.
Yeah, we want to hear about your Cancun vacation. When you come back, you need to let us know how that goes.
I will.
Send
the parts that I can tell you.
Yeah, we're gonna be jealous over here. We might meet you for a drink if we're lucky.
We want pictures.
Yes, we definitely want pictures.
The ones I could share.
Ooh,
Right.
Sound like Don over there. No, just I'm just joking.
It's part of the strategy.
There you go.
So, Ms. Mahogany, why did you create this business?
You know, a lot of it had to do with personal experience.
Okay.
You know, I'm a Cancer. So Cancers are passionate and we wear our feelings on our sleeves. And I have gone through my share of heartbreak in relationships. And my first marriage and my first loves, I was just determined, like, I will never, ever, ever fall in love again and never get married again. Definitely. Right.
Uh-huh.
But I'm also one of those type of people where I was like, I know I'm not stupid. So how did I even get here?
Yeah.
You know, it was just like, I thought I did everything right. Mm-hmm. And so like, how do you fail so miserably? Mm-hmm. And so I ended up going through therapy, you know, and I'm one of those types of people. So what I did was I ended up spending a lot of time with men.
Okay.
because I like to talk to men and I have male friends
Mhm.
and I have male cousins. And so through talking to them and spending time with them, so I refuse to like date them seriously, but to spend time with them. And so between that and then just doing a lot of research is where I just learned about them. And then I started to like date them casually.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started testing my theories. I was like, I can really figure out how to like really, and it's I'm not trying to manipulate, but you can get out of someone what it is that you like to get from them. It's not manipulation, but when you learn about yourself and know what you want, you can set a standard.
But I want to ask, is that, did you use that same strategy, if it's not getting too personal, in your second marriage when you met him?
Oh, yeah. You're
Okay.
absolutely right.
Okay.
Honey, my husband, oh Lord, he gonna watch this. My husband was not ready to get married. My husband was, oh Lord, he gonna kill me. My husband was dating multiple women. He might have liked me, but I knew he was dating multiple women. In fact, I thought he was married when I first met him. But my husband was the type of man, like I knew he came from good stock. And I knew he was the type of person that ultimately one day I would marry. You know, and so it was one of those things where we had great conversation. We had a lot of things in common. And that's one thing that I knew, like we both had been divorced. And that's one thing I always tell women. Marriage is hard enough, or being in a relationship is hard enough. So find the commonalities, meaning you want to be with people that you have the same values. And you have a lot of things kind of in common, like you're moving in the same direction.
True.
So don't find a lot of things that are different, because you won't be fist fighting all the time.
True.
So our values were the same. We both had been divorced. We had kids the same age. We lived in the same town. You know, we both were in our secondary of school. We're both in healthcare. So a lot of things just fit. We both love to have fun. And so it was just weird like that. But it was just something about him. I was like, this dude, he ain't never gonna, you know, and granted, I wasn't there either. But I was like, what I'm not going to do is get caught up emotionally while I know that he's not there either, seriously. And so I would just drop little things to test and see where he was.
Right.
Okay.
And slowly, when I saw that he was ready, then I would allow myself to emotionally invest a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And then eventually, about maybe 2 years in, he proposed, you know, and you know, when I was ready, I just let him know, like, you know, if we're going to be together, like we have to get married. If not, I'm out.
And congratulations to you.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it worked. But to your point though, Creative, when I got divorced, that was never the intent. But and I also let him know, like, if I get married, it's not because I need a man, it's because you have to be an asset in my life. That was part of it too. Like I realized part of the reason my marriage failed before is because I was looking for someone to fulfill me. I was looking for someone to fix me. And Mahogany needed to fix Mahogany. I needed to love myself. I needed to take care of myself. I needed to be happy. So I had to date myself for a long time. Those were my issues. You know, but that was my story. You know, everybody's story is different.
And I think that's what it is too. A lot of women, we don't ask for what we really want. And so I had to learn as an adult, now you got to ask for what you want, or else you're never going to get it. They're not going to know what you need or what your expectations are if you don't tell them what you want. You know, they're not mind readers. So,
and I just want to say this because I was just trying to think of some things, because a dating strategist, I love that. Like I said, that title, you know, it grabs you. You know what I mean? It doesn't make it sound like it's therapy or anything like that. So that's a plus. You know, you have to, just like a book, if it doesn't grab you from the beginning, you have no problem putting it down. But if it grabs you from that, you know, initially when you start reading it, then you don't want to put it down. So it's intriguing to have a title like that. And I just want to say, because I know for the most part, we as women, we speak from a woman's perspective. We speak for what we want. But in 2021, and we know this has been going on for a while, I did make different little notes. And one of the things I wanted to say is, like, I don't want to be biased, because we're all growing. and we don't know what type of audiences we're going to attract. YouTube is a huge channel, so anybody might click on that. And we want to make sure that people know nowadays it could be the reverse, because me being 51, I've seen things change to where it's like you even hear men gripe about it. It's like, well, women are taking on the role of a man.
Oh,
Okay,
God.
well, when it's in reverse, in reality, we know they're not men. We are not men. We're not trying to take their role, but there are some women who make other women look bad, just like there are some men that make men look bad. Where we say there's no good men left in the world. Yes, there is. You know
Yeah,
what I
there
mean?
is,
But
definitely.
it's where are they? Well, you don't go searching. You just got to kind of do like what Mahogany said. It's a strategy. You don't know where you're gonna find them. It doesn't mean that if you're at a bar, you're picking up a bad person. You could just be wanting to get out and not just be where it is, but they have these myths that go around.
Right.
So I just want people to know that while we're having fun talking about this, we do understand that in any type of unity, whether it's same sex, male, female, it doesn't matter. This, this information is going to help everybody, and we just hope you use it in the correct manner. Because, like I said, dating strategist, I'm there. I was like, I can't wait to talk to you. So, I mean, it's cool, because I'm just saying, I've been through a lot, you know what I mean? So I get it. So I appreciate you.
Absolutely, creative. What you said, I speak to that, and I'm an advocate of what you say. I cannot stand when women are like, all men are dogs, or once a cheater, always a cheater. I'm sorry. You can set your own destiny, because I feel that very strongly. What my husband may have done with another female, that's what he did with her.
Right.
That don't mean he gonna do that with me, because I set that standard with him, with me.
Right.
That's true.
And so I'm not saying that works with that man with every woman, but a man can do something different with another woman based off of where he is at that moment.
Absolutely.
And how he feels about that woman. There's a thing like Steve Harvey. Everybody feels a little different about Steve Harvey, right? But he does say one thing: when a man's at a certain place in his life, you can't affect that. When he's at a certain place in his life, and if that woman is there at that moment, he can act differently.
Right.
He can. And so if that happens, then he will be different. And so to that point, a man can act differently. And so when that happens, we can't walk into a situation and prejudge. What we need to do is be ready to be in a different position.
Right.
Meaning we don't lower our standards or prejudge that man. Because especially I feel like our men of color have already had a tough time in the United States of America.
Absolutely.
So my God, we need to uplift all of our men of color.
Absolutely.
My God, give them an opportunity. Don't enable them, but give them an opportunity.
That's right. Yes. I can appreciate that.
Mahogany, in your bio, you mentioned that there's a communication gap with the opposite sex. Why is that? Is it because we weren't taught to communicate well with the opposite sex? What's going on with that?
I think that it's twofold.
Okay.
I think one is because of it's a natural physiological thing, in that men are more logical. So because they're logical and women feel, like men are from Mars, women are from Venus. So you'll find that you've got one side of the brain, the other side of the brain, and we've got to meet in the middle, and we've got to understand that. And if we're constantly trying to communicate our way and he's communicating his way, and we refuse to meet in the middle, then we're going to have that communication gap. And then also to your point, Cassandra, yes, it can also be cultural.
Okay.
If we grow up in a household, sometimes either if it's a single parent household or dysfunctional household, and we don't see good communication.
Ooh, yeah.
Where we going to learn it? Where we going to learn it, right? If people are constantly talking at each other or yelling at each other or cussing or fist fighting.
Yeah. How are you ever going to get it here? Yeah.
Right. So I strongly believe if you did have those types of relationships, and then you get into a good, like if you were someone you want to make it work, then you might want to go to couples therapy. Yeah. Because then you can get the tools and the resources that you need to learn how to communicate.
Yep. Like a guide.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's absolutely nothing wrong with that, especially in this day and age that we live in.
Mm-hmm.
Life is hard enough. Don't make it harder by trying to figure it out on your own.
Yeah. So did any of you guys have any healthy relationships? Like my co-host, did you guys come from healthy relationships like your parents? did any of you guys do that?
From what
Well,
It's
I
hard for
mean,
me to-
there was a lot of issues. There was a lot of issues because of where my mom came from. But my father was a social worker at one time.
Okay.
So he knew how to communicate. But, I think more or less, like, he just raised us to, like, with me, I was calculated in every move I made, all the way from high school, how long I was going to, just procrastinate and, do whatever I wanted, to where I needed to get serious, and calculated pretty much everything. The only thing I didn't calculate was how to find a guy or how to be with a guy. And I think that's where my issue was. But, as far as communication in my cultural background, there were 4 different dialects. One was you talk to children a certain way, you talk to adults a certain way, but then there's one specific way you talk to your spouse, and that was the only language that you had. So those were kind of really strong too. But then also roles were a little bit reversed in regards to who kind of like oversaw the whole household, and it would be the mother or the female, because they did bear the children, so they made the decisions. They met for group. They were essentially the chiefs of that village, and the men were messengers. So it was a little different,
Okay, so what is your background? That's interesting.
Oh, I'm Native American.
Oh, okay.
I have 4 tribes.
Oh, nice. No, go ahead. I want to know more, because it's different to hear that,
I come from 4 tribes, and it's really, really different. Actually, 2 of my tribes are from here, and they were all military. A lot of their background was, like my great grandfather was the very first pastor of the Hopi tribe. So he was kind of banned from the Hopi tribe. So he adopted more of those ways because he had a degree. He had an actual degree in like the early 1900s. Where on my mom's side, they were activists. They were a part of the American Indian movement. They still did everything very culturally. They did all of their, everything that they did was relevant to where we came from, and, to how we prayed, to, sweats, to everything. So the way they talked, the way they interacted was very, very specific in how everything was addressed. So it was really kind of nice to see that. But then on my dad's side, it was so opposite. So like my ex-husband served on my grandfather's military base. You couldn't get away with that, even though I tried so hard sometimes to do that. But it does set some type of precedence in regards to how the men treated the women. They respected them. They learned how to cook. They sewed. They did everything that a woman does, just in case they had to be in that spot.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like
it's very hard to meet a man. Yeah, it's very hard to meet a traditional man like that, though, because a lot of them have gotten away from that culture. But the ones that are like that, they're very, very, very specific in what they want, who they want, and they will even bring them to their grandfather. And if their grandfather senses anything about them, that's the last day you'll see her.
Wow.
Yeah.
The family's a big presence then in dating then.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Wow, okay.
Hey, Mahogany, I like that you also said that one of the biggest reasons why relationships fail is due to unmet expectations. I've had issues like that, and example is like they have no plans of building a future together, or a home together, home life, or anything like that. How can we get our expectations met?
So I would say it's the generation, but I just think that we just jump into dating and sex and just having fun, and without talking about our future and what we want, and just a plan. And therefore, what the man is looking for and what the woman is looking for as far as the relationship, the foundation, may not actually be on the same plane. And, I said it actually reminds me of my first year anniversary with my first husband. I thought we did great, and I thought I had accomplished something. And actually, he was really disappointed after the first year. He had said that I didn't measure up to what he thought I would be. He thought I was going to be like my mom. And really, I never aspired to be like my mother. I was really working on being the opposite of my mom.
That's how I am with my mom. How to be the opposite.
First off, my mom's a narcissist. Like, when I went through therapy after my divorce, I found out part of my emotional disconnect is because I'm a product of a narcissist, which I didn't realize. And she was a homemaker. And so she had, she decided to make her entire life, like, she just drowned her life into her kids. And because of that, I felt suffocated. And I was like, I'm not going to do that to my kids. Like, I'm going to try to find balance. But he didn't understand that on the outside, because that's what narcissists do. They make this beautiful, perfect picture. So to him, he wanted this perfect domestic wife, and life is messy, So I say that to say I evidently didn't communicate any of that when dating. And then he didn't communicate any of that. I didn't think that he thought my mom was this great lady. So
wow. So we look to our parents as an example of what we should be. I didn't know that.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know. I was like, shoot. That's
right. So, but we do that. I see my girlfriends do that. We get married, and, I don't know if you guys see that in your friends when people get married, but, you get married, and then, like, later on, people are complaining that it's not what they thought it was going to be. And it's like, how is that possible? Either when you lived together before you got married, or you dated all this time. That's because, did you really talk about it? Like, did you really do your research? Did you do your due diligence?
Right.
So that's the unmet expectations. Are we really, really looking at it, or are we allowing the lust, the endorphins to take over? It's true.
Yeah, that is true. Right.
Well, you know what?
I had a quick question.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. You go ahead. Go ahead. No, I'll wait till you finish.
Okay, so now I was told a while ago, and I've brought this up on several interviews that we've done before, just to see what the opinion is, but from what I've heard, and I don't know if it's just the different environments or atmospheres that people have grown up in, but how with girls, they always know what they want, how they're going to want their wedding. They always foresee it when they're little girls. But what I heard was, like, during the puberty stage of boys, they actually decide at what point or at what age they want to get married. So a lot of times it could be 35, 45. So, it was explained to me that some of the miscommunication or the missteps is because they get with girls who want to be married early, and that's what they saw in their childhood. And, they want to imitate what they perceive to be the perfect marriage, when, how. But the guys, they're like, no, I want to do this and I want to do that, and I'm going to do all this first, then I'll get married and settle down and get serious. Have you ever heard of that?
So I think I have a different philosophy on all that. I actually don't. So I'll tell you what my thoughts on that and my observations. I don't believe that most men actually want to get married in this modern society.
Okay.
And
so it might be old thought.
Right. And if they do, it's way down into their later 40s, late 30s. Yeah.
Right.
because I just think marriage is something that women are more, we're the ones that we're more conditioned to that. The motherhood.
I really never had like no major plans to get married. Like
it is right. It's not every woman.
No family, like grandparents, like she didn't even want to be buried at the same cemetery as her husband. So I'm like, they're married for like 100 years, but they're still miserable. So I'm like, I don't know if I'd ever want to get married. That's what some of the thoughts I've had, growing up.
Yeah, I ain't mad at you though.
I mean, it could have been really, really old thought too, like Perry Mason days or something like that.
But, yeah, like when it was more traditional. But I just feel like men will get married because they're looking to not lose the woman and to please the woman, and it's more the right thing to do. It's just to me, that's why men do it to me nowadays in the 20th and the 21st century. Back in the day, yes, I think it was more traditional because they couldn't have sex. Now they can get and they can have multiple sex now. And so what is the whole purpose of it?
And then they think we're going to take their money too. So that's why some of them are scared to get married.
But you know what, Mahogany? You can hear me, right? Okay, so my thing now, I know as a little girl, I went through some traumatic experiences, but I was always, and it was funny because my friends would tease me like, she's more the relationship type, not me. Like, I didn't like the dating scene. I used to tell my mom, look, if the right person found me by the time I'm 18, I'm good. That's what my mindset was. Things happen, life happens, just, different things. And I'm an only child. So the way I am, I didn't get a lot of those ways from my mom. I was kind of like thrown to the wolves because I lost my dad. That was a traumatic, at an early age. And that did something to me mentally that nobody really knew. They didn't recognize it, and I truly didn't know. So I grew up with it. It was a lot of things that I didn't accept as being true until I was like late into my 30s. So that was different, but even still, like to this day, I hated dating. I was not good at dating because my thing is, if I choose you, that's where my focus is. So my problem would be that I couldn't get that same thing back. And I had to learn they're not entitled to give that to you. Just because that's what you want doesn't mean that's what they want. So I'm being faithful to this person, even when I don't have to be, but that's because that's what's within me. So maybe that goes to morals and things like that, because that's a choice. And I think that's why too, I ran into a lot of different issues as far as not being in a relationship because I'm not a sharing person, so call it what you like, but I don't want to share me with somebody else if I'm with you, and you shouldn't want to share me either. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like what my perspective was on that. But it seemed like it worked against me, because I wasn't one that likes to date. But I'm not going to change that. I just feel like when it's time for me, it'll be time for me. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that you're not the only person like that. I think that when you have that perspective, it's just a matter of not jumping in too fast, right? Because what happens is most men do not feel like that. And you got to really take it slow. Right. And you got to make sure that your standard is clear and that he can articulate and show you that he's in the same place that you are. So then they're not taking advantage of you.
And that makes a lot of sense because, like I said, you live and you learn, and that's why when people think they know it all, you don't. One of my questions, and I guess one kind of goes together, is I want to say, would you agree that a man or a woman doesn't need new friends once they are involved in a relationship, whether it's marriage or not? And then I said, I know why I think this. And why I say these two go together is because some people feel like, well, I can do whatever I want to do because there's no ring on my finger. Why do people have that mindset? And it's not just women, it's men too. It's more the men than the women when it comes to that, though. And why is that?
When you say need new friends, you mean like opposite sex friends or just friends in general?
No, opposite sex. Because I've come across that. So I'm like, yeah, let me hear your opinion on this.
No, I don't think it's appropriate. People should be having opposite sex friends.
And I'm asking because I hear it. It's like, why is that okay? It's not okay. But they think you're crazy when you say it's not okay.
No, they playing games. We all know they're playing games.
Right. It's okay. And that's why I wanted to ask.
Player to
like,
player.
Right. It's like, why do you need new friends? You know, if you're not happy in your relationship, then you need to dissolve that relationship before you're gonna make it new friends. You can't have both. But they feel like, oh, it's just nah. And that's why I wanted to ask you.
100% of the time, every single time. Don't play them games. Like that.
Right.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
So Mahogany, but doesn't it really depend on who you surround yourself with too? Like if you're with other couples who don't have other female friends in their life or male friends in their life, but they actually see couples together, or they're doing things more like married couples, or even when you're looking for somebody, I'm starting to learn now that it really depends on how you create your environment, and to be able to set those standards and expectations. So when you do decide to get with somebody and want to be serious, you're going to be around friends who have those same expectations and goals of each other as well. Is that wrong, or is that unrealistic, or?
No, I mean, like, that's a different question. I think Creative's question was, are you looking for more single opposite sex friends, right?
Right.
But your question, Dawn, was, if we're a couple, are we building more couple friends that are aligned with where we're going, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
Right.
Okay.
Which is what you should be doing. And I think that when you don't do that, it can be devastating. Not devastating, it's not a good word. It's healthy for your relationship. Just like anything else, that if you're moving in one direction, yes, you should have your tribe be moving in that same direction.
Right.
Yes.
I have another question for you. Go ahead.
When I lived on base, that's when it came up, because you have people in the military who are single hanging out, and then you have married couples, and that's kind of where I kind of got my general idea from, was that.
Now, I will say this: I've also been in crowds where the married couples can be not good if they're always like complaining and my husband this and my husband that, you know. So you also want to make sure that it's good married couple friends, or good, you know, like
healthy.
The healthy ones. That's good. And it could be, you know, beneficial.
Okay. Then looking at it from both perspectives, I said, of course, not being a man, we have to kind of imagine, what is some genuine advice that you would share with our viewers to help them not to overthink, but at the same time, listen to that sixth sense or gut feeling? I'll stop there and then I'll finish the rest.
Okay. So for a female, not to overthink it with a man, right? Is that what we're saying?
Either one. Well, okay, so maybe I do have to finish it, because what it is like to find an even balance so that the scales don't tip in favor of either person involved, whether it's the beginning stages, the middle, or possibly the end. You know what I mean? So that they're not mistakenly thinking the wrong thing. You know how you can overthink.
Yes. So I think, so there's a few things. I think you want to definitely, you need to look, or if you're a female, with a man, it's about his actions.
Okay.
It's not always about what the man says, because men are smooth talkers.
Right.
They're going to come to the table with what they say, but we want to look at what they are actually doing to see if what he's saying matches his actions. For women, because we are suckers for what he say. So stop overthinking what he says, because sometimes he can piss us off with what he says. Right. And sometimes he can actually get our emotions riled up. Like, oh my God, he loved me, you know, but he actually didn't match us with the action. Right. So I think that can be one of those things, is the actions. And then if I'm from the man's perspective, I think the man, don't be so tied up with the woman's emotions. Sometimes men can get scared off with the woman's emotions, right? Yes, a woman absolutely wants to have a relationship, but Jesus Christ, calm down.
Right.
Like, don't get overwhelmed. Of course, you want to have a wedding, but she will go at your pace.
Right.
You can also speak your mind and be like, hold up, lady.
Right.
We just going to Applebee's. It's just a fifth date. You can say that to her. Men will ghost you and not say it.
Right.
Stop ghosting chicks. Just say it. Like, I actually have talked to dudes and they'll ghost you. But I've actually talked to dudes who'll just make it a joke and be like, yo, chick, it's okay. So I think like you said, don't overthink it. Communicate.
Right.
Women have the actions. Men, stop feeding into women's emotions and just talk to her. You know, make it a little bit lighter. Be lighter. I think we take each other too seriously.
And I ask that because it can go either way. And sometimes that's what will mess up a relationship. That's why I can say it could be in the beginning, the middle, or the end. That could make or break it. So that's why I was just wondering that way. It doesn't tip the scale either way, you know. So thank you. Okay. That's cool. Okay, and when people say, let love find you instead of looking for love, how do you identify with that if you have your guard up? Because you fear that if you make the first move, it might not be the right person because you said something first. For example, as if I was looking for love, speaking from a female's perspective, maybe he's shy and is hoping you will approach for fear of rejection. Same with the men. They may not want to approach because the woman has made herself unapproachable.
So I think that there's nothing wrong with shooting your shot. I think in the day and age that we live in, absolutely is nothing wrong with that. I really don't. I just think that there is a balance in how you have some level of womanly grace and sex appeal about it when you do it. You know, and so, you know, yeah, you can have your guard up, but let a man know. And it's just about how you do it. You know, I just recently did a reel on like sex appeal and your eyes and your sex. And that's how a woman lets a man know. Like, you ain't got to go all for and be like, yo, shorty, you know, but you can, you know, it's a way you let a man know, like, I'm checking for you.
Right. Right. Got you. Okay.
What's up?
Right. And
you don't know?
Man, yeah. Okay.
And wait, the same for a man.
Right. Okay.
Anybody got no time? All these, plus I'm in Atlanta, so you know it is a shortage. So
you know, from Atlanta. No.
Yeah, we got speed it up. You see a man you like, let's go for it.
Okay.
But don't be all in their face and look desperate. Don't be desperate.
Right.
That's true.
Just put some makeup on, look sexy, you know, and you know, make your eyes,
you know. That's cool. Okay.
Tell us what would be your dream divorce party?
Okay, so it's not nasty and raunchy, but because I'm a Cancer, but so it took me a minute to think about it. But okay, so y'all know Lizzo, she has that song "Truth Hurts," and so I was like, man, if y'all could come over to my house and like we could like play that song or all those songs, and then we can go through the house and we take all his shit, you know, and we can have like a bonfire, right? And then like we can have like bonfires and parts of the house. We just like burn his shit, right? Like in the house. And then we can have like a makeover, and then y'all can bring over like some sexy men and have them like in a panel, and then I can just do like some speed dating and some shit. That would be like some boss shit. And then be like in a 2-piece, and then I could take some sexy photos and whatnot. That'd be cool. And then we put them up on social media for all his friends to see.
Oh yeah.
And go up in their DMs, just like Lizzo has said.
She's living it up.
Right.
I have to film an episode like that, Don. What do you think?
Right. Yeah. That's exactly what I would do. Because paybacks
we only have 1 minute left, unfortunately. So Mahogany Moore, can you tell us how can we find out more about you? Where can we go for your services?
Please find me on social media at Mahogany. That's MAHOGHANY_Moore MOORE. You can find me and you can book me at You Can Book Me. And my link is on Instagram.